Wow, there's just a certain electricity in the air right now, man. It's just, there's a vibe in here, and I'm loving life. Everyone's loving life. We just saw Al's brother earlier. I walked by Al's brother and just said hello with the little wolf pack. And
dude, it was a bit much because you guys walked by each other, and usually you do a stop and chat in the hallway and you go for some knuckles.
Yeah.
They instinctively went like this. What's up, bud?
That's right. I don't even think we said words.
Frankie.
Like, just said partsy.
Like and they touched it, and they did like the,
Yeah, because Hayes and Bro
it's
are on
good
fire
versus
right now.
evil now. It's good versus evil. These guys are the most cringe. They now try and steal O-Dog's lines in the group chat. It's awful. It's so painful. I can't even respond. And, I mean, obviously you're back in the game now, +4. Tough game for us tonight. But this is where we bear down. This is where we make picks.
Well, that's what Matt Ryan was saying in between the third and fourth quarter, right? That's exactly what was happening because Al's brother sent a beautiful text last night where I believe it was 28-21 at that point, where it was 28-3 at one point, as we know, and the Patriots just kept rolling and rolling and rolling, and that's where Hayes and Bro are at right now. And Timo and Wilson, I got to be honest, it's really getting ugly for you guys.
This is what is very strange to me, Frankie. And you understand this about ignoring the noise.
Sure.
Okay, so you look at, let's really dig into this weekend.
Yeah.
Doogie needs to answer, first and foremost, how on the 1 o'clock slate, he picks the Chiefs versus the Patriots instead of Green Bay versus Tampa Bay, 2 playoff-bound teams. So, Doogie, you got a response to that? Or did Hayes put you up to it?
That's a great game, Doogie. Great job.
I did it by storyline, Luke.
Oh, okay. Storyline, for sure. You did
Producer.
it because
Patrick
you got grease.
Mahomes,
You got grease by
Bill
Hayes.
Belichick.
But that's fine.
Taylor
lot
Swift.
to it.
Because he knows that this guy
Taylor
won't be able to
Swift.
see through the
Green
fog
Bay,
of
correct.
Green Bay. I got a bone to pick with him on that also.
Yeah, so
I would have taken Bucks
this
money
team-
line.
This team this fraudulent team has to pick against the Steelers, worst team in the NFL right now, the Patriots, awful, and the layup of the century last night, 3 points against Jacksonville. The Ravens are the number 1 seed, and now they want to be like, we're incredible. We're the greatest gambling duo
Cowboys
of all
all day.
time.
Not a tough game. Probably the layup of the week.
Oh,
And then here we go. They get on
That's
me.
what we forget.
They get on me.
Commentary.
Okay, the Cowboys jammed me up. I go 1-1-1. We're 27-14-3. We have a 4-point lead, and I'm feeling texts from my partsy right now. I'm not sure how this is going to unfold, but apparently I'm on the hot seat.
Uh-oh.
Also, the Minnesota Vikings pick should have been the greatest pick this show has ever seen if Nick Mullins didn't puke all over himself. Not once, not twice, but 15 times in that game.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I have a little Doogie bone to pick as well. Everywhere on earth, that was Bengals 2.5, except for in the Doogie Sportsbook, where it was 3 for some reason. Yes,
it wasn't.
It was 2.5 all the way up until we made a pick, and then Doogie decided to hand you a half point, which led to a push.
That's neither here nor there.
No, it's significant. It should
Once
be
again, a
right
bad
now.
weekend for Team Owen Wilson
Right.
is 1-1-1. It's a terrible weekend. That won't happen again. And to be honest, we're going to win tonight and go 2-1-1. And what's going to happen when you don't have layups from Doogie? You guys are in a delusional land. I just want to let you know that I'm banking all of the texts,
Please
all
do.
of the bots.
Please do.
Okay. Al's brother's got his bot farm, which I know are all him. Okay. He's just sitting there from different accounts, pinging me with tweets. Like, secret's out. It's
All
just
right.
you.
Okay.
I am going to bottle this all up and take the world's biggest dump when we win this.
Okay, a little montage after the season. That's what you're calling right now. I'm telling
Cowboys
you.
all day. Not a tough game. Probably the layup of the week.
Thank you.
It should have been. Fluke game.
The Christmas
Again, I
and
got
the
jammed
result.
up.
with you on that, by the way.
Yeah.
I was thinking Cowboys all the way.
Well,
I'm just
because-
like Dak's in the MVP talk.
Yes.
This is
They're
gonna be-
fraudulent on the road.
I will
They are
never-
frauds on the road.
Never get fooled
That's
by
a
the
fact.
Cowboys
That was a
and
fluke
Dak
game.
again.
That was not a fluke game. You got to give credit where credit's
3
due.
weeks
Buffalo-
ago, you were saying Buffalo's season's done 3 weeks ago.
No, I
Thank
said
you.
I thought
3
it was,
weeks
I
ago.
thought it was.
This is my bone to pick because we did a show together, you and I, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you had something over me that day. You were very persuasive, and you're like, the Green Bay Packers
I
could
thought
find
they were
themselves
gonna
in the playoffs, and the Buffalo Bills could be on the outside looking in. And you went through all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I see that. Like I agreed with them, and I'm like, I was in a haze, and now
Okay.
I
Let me
I
answer
need to
for
get
that.
out of that haze.
Let me
I'd love
answer
to
for that.
Be accountable for your words.
Packers are the youngest team in the league. They lost to the Giants, which I called. I said I think they're going to lose. I didn't think they lose
You
to the
did didn't
Bucks.
say that.
Yes, I did. I said
You said they were
definitively
the
on
Giants
the show.
would cover.
I said they'd
Lose?
cover, but I said I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. I said that's a classic letdown after a Lions win, Lambeau under the lights against the Chiefs. Monday night Giants. We saw what happened. The Bucks yesterday. I got to give credit to Baker Mayfield, man. That guy played incredibly well, but the Packers defense is a joke. Their coordinator, Barry, should be shipped out just like DJ Smith was today. There's no excuse for him being a defensive coordinator in the NFL. And they're the youngest team in the league, and they've puked it away. It's over. The Bills, though, I give credit to. The Bills, yesterday, they spanked Dallas. And I thought what they did was said, come on up, and we're going to fight. Like, they were manhandling the Cowboys last night. And for me, I think that's a good look for Buffalo. I'm not all the way on this pendulum where I'm, like, talking Super Bowl yet. I'm not at that point yet. They're not even a lock to make the playoffs. But for me, the bigger story in that game is Dallas. They go on the road, bad weather against elite teams with a tough offense and defensive line, and they can't compete.
Yeah.
Like, they got spanked against San Francisco earlier in the year at Levi Stadium. That was the most embarrassing loss of the year.
Yep.
And yesterday, they got slapped.
Like, and you said it, if Dallas loses yesterday, and it's one of those things where Josh Allen made some miraculous plays, you know, they got jammed up by a bad turnover themselves, you're kind of like, yeah, they got to clean that up, but they're the Dallas Cowboys, whatever. The fact that they lost by that many points, Josh Allen had 7 completions.
That's wild. 96 yards in the air, I believe.
I could be wrong. I believe the only receiver or tight end who caught a pass was Stephon Diggs. I believe the passes were Diggs, Cook, and Ty Johnson.
Right. Cook was great. Yeah.
Cook was
Unstoppable
incredible
last night. They had no answer for him.
And what was weird, too, is like I know Dan Quinn very well. It's like, okay, they've committed to this run game. The fact that they just kept getting gashed and gashed and gashed, it was just unbelievable to see. So you got to tip your cap to Buffalo. But I do think that to some degree, like that is a bit of a one-off situation. They ran for 266 yards. Mm-hmm. If they want to have a Super Bowl run, I think they've got to probably throw the football a little more than they did yesterday.
Right. But their defense looks good. They've had injury problems, but they look good.
They
On
look
third
good
down,
yesterday. They look good against Kansas City. You know, you sit there, they're kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde right now. Like you said it, and I said this on Jay yesterday. 3 weeks ago, this team was 6-6, and every Bills fan on planet Earth was like, they're done, sell the farm, fire the head coach. They beat Kansas City, great win, on the road, very tough situation. Little help from Kadarius Toney's toe, whatever it is, great win, not taking anything away. They come out and spank the Cowboys. I'm not ready to put the stamp of this is the greatest team in the NFL. They're an 8-6 ball team. They play the Chargers next. They should probably win that by 100. And then they got to beat the Pats. They should probably win that by 100 as well, but we'll see how that goes for them. And then it's setting up for a showdown probably for the division against Miami.
Yeah. Well, the amazing thing is Miami, for me, has a lot of Dallas in them. Like, they beat up on bad teams. Look what they did yesterday. You got a bad team, Miami will torch you. But the good teams, they don't torch. Well, they don't beat good teams.
Like, Tyreek is banged up. Like, that doesn't help, and he was in the MVP talk. And I think, like, Tua's arm strength is a topic of conversation these days. Like, that's something that is working against them.
Agreed. What gets interesting with the Bills, and there's got to be a lot of things I think that have to work out here, but there's a potential for them to be playing that last game, and they win the division, they lose, they're out of the playoffs.
This is wild.
Because their tiebreaker is not great. Now, they'll have 2 conference wins, assuming they beat the Chargers and the Pats. But it's like now all of a sudden, I even look at, are the Jags a lock to win their division? Absolutely not. Texans are right there.
Yeah, but I mean, with C.J. Stroud out, I think it's the Colts.
The Colts are
that's
the
team I'd be scared of.
I think the Browns are definitely going to get a wild card spot. I think 2 of those teams,
Isn't it wild
10.
that the Browns and Bengals without their quarterback keep winning?
I think the Browns are the biggest sleeper in the AFC now with Joe Flacco.
Ooh.
And I'm not
he
saying
throws picks though.
Yes,
Like
but
he
what
likes a pick.
You look at yesterday's game, and everyone loves to talk about Fields and the Bears because they struggle offensively. The Bears have an elite run defense. Elite run defense. Kind of took that away from the Browns. And Joe Flacco threw for 374. Again, was it a pretty 374? No.
Winning.
But you get a guy who can sling the ball like that. He does have a good run game at his disposal, and he has what I think is the best defensive unit all around in the league. Is that a team you want to see in January?
No, I mean, I hear you, right? Like, this is the amazing thing about the way the AFC is shaping up, where Baltimore got a big win last night. They're in the driver's seat, but they got tough skeds. Like,
Yes.
they go to San Francisco next week.
Yes.
They're not winning that game. Like, I don't think no one's beating San Francisco.
Keaton Mitchell's a big loss. He adds a different dimension for them in the backfield.
Right, that sucked because he was that close to breaking that to the house too,
Yeah.
and it was like an open field. Did they announce anything on that? Like what it was? I didn't hear anything yet.
Very bad on the replay.
Yeah, I was hoping like a hyper extension where maybe in a few weeks he can recover, but it didn't. It did not look good. But you look at the AFC, it's like it's going to be some combination of Baltimore, Miami, or Buffalo, Kansas City, Indianapolis. Like I don't see a favorite there.
I don't either.
It's clear cut.
To me, they ask me all the time, who's the number one seed? I mean, I think that's completely up in the air. And the one team that I don't feel great about saying this, it makes me feel disgusting saying this. I want to preface this. But if you were to ask me who the most feared team is in this AFC, I think it's the Dolphins with a healthy Tyreek Hill. Granted, they haven't beat anyone good. I'm with you on that. But you got to think that they still haven't really played to their potential. You look at it and it's like Waddle has 142. I mean, Tyreek is in the MVP conversation when he's healthy. You've got Jalen Ramsey back. I mean, they obviously puked all over themselves against Tennessee, but I still think that team should not be overlooked because even if they're getting dominated, they can score like that.
That's the thing. It's the explosive offense that they have. It's like you account for a certain amount of offense in a game. Doesn't matter what sport you play, but when you know that they could run it up like really quickly, you're like, oh man, it's overwhelming. Like they can be overwhelming.
Nailed it.
How bad does the Deshaun Watson contract look when Joe Flacco's out there making the team look really good?
2 straight games thrown for over 300. I think his other game was 254. Again, the picks are very concerning. One of the pick six, you try to fit a tight window in. Bears player made a nice play. I don't think that's all on him. But it's like you clean up those interceptions, which I think he can do, and you face a defense that is not as elite at stopping the run. Joe Flacco can, as we've all seen, can still sling the pill.
Some people have said elite.
Some people have said elite. Yes, some people have said that. See, this is where, for me, what would be terrifying is I look at Kansas City and I say, it's watered down. There's all these questions. And then you got Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes in an elite defense.
Yes.
And it's like, if they can make sure Kadarius Toney doesn't put a uniform on ever again, that'll be a big bonus.
Yes.
And Travis Kelce gets some life, which he might come playoff time. Like, I still think he's kind of selective with what he's bringing to the table. But a somewhat watered down or a parody, fused AFC where you've got that cat and that coach and that defense, that's still terrifying.
That's not somebody you want to see, and they're going to win the division.
Yeah.
So they might not get the 1 seed, but I think the 2's available still for them, depending on how things shake out.
Right.
So it's like up until the AFC Championship, you're going to Arrowhead. Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, nobody wants to go into Arrowhead in the playoffs. Steve Spagnuolo, D coordinator, in his bag right now. Looks great week in and week out. Defense looks very solid. And that's another team where it's like they haven't even come close to playing their potential. And would it shock you if now all of a sudden Clyde Edwards-Helaire has looked great?
Yeah, it looks good.
Pacheco gets back healthy.
Run game.
And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, Rashee Rice has come on as the season has kind of gone on. And you look yesterday, Matt Nagy drew up that play where Mahomes was like the fullback and they did the little shovel pass from McKinnon. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
There's flashes of it. They still had bad drops. Kadarius Toney, some weird penalties.
Yeah, that's troublesome.
But it's things they can clean up. I don't know why they're not clean already.
Well, and then like on the NFC side of things, it's the Niners.
And then everyone else.
They're so much better than everyone else. And I saw you on Jay last night making a case for Brock Purdy for MVP. And I can't argue against that. Like as good as McCaffrey is a freak.
Yes.
He is a freak. And Tyreek Hill's a freak. Lamar, I thought Lamar last night, that was one of the most entertaining quarterbacking games
Ridiculous.
I've seen in a long time. But Purdy, because of who he is and the team he plays for, because it's Shanahan's offense, great offensive line, Mr. blah, blah, blah. He's not getting the love he deserves. The guy every week is putting up staggering statistics. Staggering, where if you put those lines on Mahomes, it would be like it's Mahomes. We're not talking about Kelsey or Pacheco or anybody else. We'd be like, it's Mahomes.
He's a victim of his situation.
Yes.
And I think the other thing he has, like, he's even said that, like, it's Christian McCaffrey. And Shanahan's kind of talked about on his own team. Like, I don't know if he said this verbatim, but basically he's insinuated that on his own team, it's McCaffrey who's kind of leading the charge. But Brock Purdy, like, it's hard to argue against the numbers he's putting up. So
yes,
good.
and you talk about Mahomes, and this is what I was saying on Jay yesterday. I think it's wildly unfair at this point for us to be like, hey, it's this, it's that. Mahomes had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Right.
Granted, it's not apples to apples with San Fran, but none of us were saying, oh, the only reason Mahomes is good is because he's got these two guys. Mm-hmm. Two historical talents. So I think at this point, this far into the season, granted, unless he does a Dak Prescott in the next couple weeks, okay, you got to give him the nod. You can't sit here and be like, hey, this guy's not the MVP, even though he's the most efficient guy. He's got all these ratings that are either 1, 2, or 3 off the charts. And it's not just CMC. It's Ayuk, it's Kittle, it's Debo. I mean, if you don't give it to Brock Purdy, they're the best team in the NFL. He's the quarterback. His numbers are incredible. Like, what kind of subjective reality are we living in?
Well, exactly. And, I mean, what Purdy's been doing recently feels like what I've been doing recently with Hazen, bro. Like Al's brother's kind of Shanahan or CMC. I'm kind of Purdy. I'm feeling good. Crazy. You guys cannot be feeling great. Like I'm
not feeling great because I got to pick a game who I don't even know who the quarterback is.
Well, we got to get to that because, like, your Timo and Wilson, the world is watching here. O's been off. O's prepping for the World Juniors. I haven't heard from him. He has been awfully
haven't
quiet.
heard from him, and I've been told that he's making changes in the organization. That's what I've been told. I don't know what these changes are.
The dog is cooking.
Oh, here he is. Oh, my God. Partsy, talk to me. Talk to me.
What an entrance.
Partsy, I thought we were doing the sports helmets today. You left me hanging, pal.
I'm sorry.
I needed this Seahawks helmet.
It's in Windsor, Ontario, LaSalle, Ontario right now.
I got to tell you guys, before we get into it, I have an announcement to make.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
I've been watching from afar.
Don't do it, dog. Don't do it.
No. We are still intact. But I've been watching what's going on, and I'm very proud to announce that Owen Wilson has hired Rod Smith to be the director of all football operations. Hang on a sec.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding. I spent yesterday, I had Roddy come over, and we just detailed things, and it's like sometimes when it's going this poorly.
It's awful right now.
Dude, this isn't on us, Partsy. This is not on us.
We're plus 4. We're 27-13-3.
I get it. But I wanted somebody. We're thin in management, and I wanted a veteran guy. And guess what else, Partsy? This guy hates Hazen, bro. He hates Hazen, bro.
Okay, I like that.
So this guy's got a hate on for Hazy B. He probably doesn't even know Al's brother. But Rod Smith is now all things football go through Rod Smith. Wow. Any of our talks, any of our picks.
Wow.
We now have a director of all football operations. Welcome, Rod Smith. He is very honored. I spoke with him today, and he's very honored to be a part of Team Owen Wilson.
He is a legend.
I love Rod. I love Rod.
You do need help. I mean,
we do not need help.
But you're on the verge of the biggest choke job.
No, we are not. You guys had layups. We went 1-1-1. Should have been 2-1-1, and we're going to win tonight. I'm assuming, unless does Rod go over the top on my pick tonight?
He very well could. I mean, it's
Cowboys all day. Not a tough game. Probably
again, I missed one game. I missed one game.
Anything's possible. You guys, like, you keep talking as if you're going to win the game tonight. You lose tonight.
It's 3, and
dude.
I love to compete. -3
That's
3 weeks
fine.
ago. I will take that all day.
It was 28-3. It was 4-1 Leafs with 11 minutes to go. The Yankees were up 3-0 on the Sox in 04.
Partsy, I got to admit, like, it didn't seem like that long ago. Like, we were offering silly little side deals
Yep.
Yes.
as like a chance for them to get back in it. Like,
They
what
had-
the hell? It was plus 12 at one time.
They
and
had
I woke up this morning
They
and
won
it's plus
5
4.
games. They won 5 games in a row, Partsy,
Yes.
and they were all layups.
That's-
Doogie
Yeah,
just
not
admitted
true.
he got greased by Hayes. They had to pick the worst games in the league.
Not true.
Trust me,
Doogie.
I looked at next week. They will be so jammed
We
up
can't miss
starting
right
on
now.
Thursday night. There's no shot. Al's brother. First off, I know how he makes his picks. He flips a coin. That's how he does it. Okay, the coin's going to come up heads or tails. That's how it goes. Bring him in.
Get him in here. That kind of disparaging comment is completely uncalled for. This man absolutely oozes tremendous information. Look at the walk on this guy. The cock and the
swagger
walk
right now, man. Jesus.
There's a lot of swagger
He's got
on that
so
walk.
much riz.
Yes, there's a lot of riz. I actually learned about that word recently. I like that. Al's
Likewise.
brother,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here because now we've got this guy. We've got Rod Smith involved. That's how desperate they are. They got to bring in Rod the Bod.
Al's
because
brother, you
it's a
have to
mess right
admit,
now.
bringing in somebody in senior management it's a good call. It's a good call.
It probably is a good call. I'm not worried about it by any means, but
Right.
it probably is a good call because
You know this is a bad idea if he's saying this, O-Dog.
Yes.
bad idea. Have you seen the tremendous information we've been supplying
let's
recently?
just talk facts. Since Al's brother has joined the squad, Hayes is a worse team. When he joined,
Not
they were a
true.
+3.
Not true.
They're +4 right now with our pick.
Not
They've
true.
had layups.
Sports?
This guy stinks at gambling. He's
Not
the worst.
He can't miss right now.
He can't
Sports is
miss.
all
He can't
about
miss.
What have you done for me lately?
Name one
and we've
game.
supplied wins.
Name
That's
one
right.
game that you picked this week that you were like, "Wow, that was tough." Name one.
The
to be
Vegas
honest,
Chargers on Thursday night. That was
They
one
won
of
by 60 points.
Exactly. That's how tremendous it
The
was.
Chargers and Easton Stick was tough to call against.
Yes, they had 0 points.
Okay, so
4 days earlier.
What about Sunday? Was there one pick you're like, "Wow, that was a great pick"?
Yeah, I think they're all great picks. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm
They're
asking
all
if you made
50-50
one tough
picks.
pick. You picked
8.5.
huge point favorites, and now you're
Let's
pumping.
be honest. Let's be honest. Every pick for us is a layup because we're seeing the board that well.
That's
So
right.
it's
We'll see
kind
this week.
of, you
Right.
know.
We'll see this week.
And listen, I know what you're going to do. I already know your pick.
What's my pick?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to tell you because Rod Smith. Is
Rod's
gonna.
is Rod going to go over the top?
I don't know. Is Rod going over the top? Oh, like what's
We
the
have
plan here?
already conferenced Rod today, and he's willing to give it one more week of Mike Partsy making the selection.
I love that
But
you're under the gun.
I will be clear about this. If this goes sideways, everything goes through Roderick up top.
No, that's
So
dangerous.
is Rod
man.
basically like is Rod Jacques?
Yeah, he's Jacques Martin.
He's Jacques.
No.
And you're DJ Smith.
No.
That's
Rod,
Luke.
Shout out the
DJ
Windsor
Smith.
Spitfires. Shout out the Windsor
Rod
Spitfires.
right now
Knows
is
it's a-
shanty
DJ
of
Smith.
this operation.
It's a
Rod
sinking
is
ship.
shanty.
Got to bring
Okay.
in a veteran in here,
Right.
and hopefully they
Influence.
right the ship. But if not,
Okay.
I'm just going to say it now. You know, it's just business. It's not personal.
Mm-hmm.
Last season, we all know what happened when I was cut from a team. Right now, I'm feeling very disrespected, especially given the record of 15 weeks in the season being stellar. I'm hitting free agency next year, boys, and I want a big contract. I know you'll part ways
right.
after you guys go 0-5 this week. I'll be back in free agency. I'll
Hey,
let you know
listen,
that now.
I might take a look. I might not. I'm pretty happy with the way things are rocking right now. Hayes and Bro are chugging. We're moving towards a Christmas miracle. It's going to be an absolute.
hey,
What a present
It's-
on Christmas Day when we're blowing past these guys.
talk about it. We could legitimately wake up Christmas morning and be in the lead, but have a chance to be in the. It was plus 12 at one point.
Right.
We brought this down to plus 4. He's probably going to make the wrong pick today. It'll be a field goal game
We gotta
by the
get-
time our heads hit the pillow.
Let's get Rod on the horn. I want to hear what he's got to say.
Let's establish the line here, Doogie. Is it still 3.5?
Doogie, don't jam me.
Eagles minus 3.5. While we're updating that, you're going to take the Seahawks, and I know you're going to take the Seahawks. And here's
That is
why you're going to take
incorrect.
the Seahawks.
That is
because
incorrect.
it's foggy, and
That is
you have
incorrect.
bias,
All right.
and your head is a pretzel right now.
The line
Yes.
is -4.
It was just
Right
minus
now?
3.5.
Up to 4. Eagles laying 4.
I'm
Okay.
checking this.
JP's corroborating it too. He's got
Yeah,
like his
JP's
4
in
fingers
on the
We're
whole
screenshotting
shaking
it.
him.
JP
We're
knows what's
screenshotting
up.
it at this moment.
All right.
Doogie, I hope you get used to that security gate out front because that's where you're going to be working the next time I get in that building.
Doogie has been
Doogie,
a
the
man
fact
of
what a
that you
integrity.
fraud
didn't
this
give
guy is.
Hayes a Green Bay game at the 1 p.m. to playoff teams, it's unforgivable. Instead, you gave him
Listen,
a layup.
you got Bill Belichick against Andy Reid, probably for the last time. Doogie's in the entertainment business. He's about production. That's a great storyline,
100%.
and it was a great pick, and it was a tough game.
All right.
That was a close game and a tough game,
Hey,
laying 8.5 on the road.
this
They
is
were
where I'm
losing
going.
at one point.
That's right.
Let's
where
not
I'm going.
forget.
Okay.
They were down.
Go ahead,
All
make
right,
your
tough
pick,
pick,
because
tough pick.
not only is O here, Rod Smith, I can see him. He's watching. He's watching right now, and he's taking notes.
So, Seattle's at home, desperate for a win, as is Philadelphia. We don't know who's playing quarterback, O-Dog. If Geno is in, I would probably go Seattle, but I'm not. I'm going Philadelphia. Here's why. You look at this Philadelphia defense, they're terrible. And you're asking, why am I going with Philadelphia? Matt Patricia's now calling plays. He's going to take the notebook straight out of his mentor. I have different names for who it is, Bill Belichick, and he's going to say, hey, let's take away what Seattle wants to do, which is run the football and take deep shots. We'll give up everything underneath. So Seattle's going to come out here, what I'm reading, with Drew Lock. They're going to have a very soft zone. They're going to stack the box, and it's going to be throws underneath. They're going to drive right down to the field, and then Patricia's going to say, okay, we're going to keep playing the zone defense, hold them to a field goal. Jason Myers is going to have a pretty good day today. That would be my guess. Mm-hmm. And he's just going to continually play this soft defense, trying to hold field goals. But on the other side, Seattle is wildly banged up defensively. Jamal Adams is out. Witherspoon is out. They don't play the run well. Jalen Hurts is going to be handing the ball to Swift all day, and they don't travel. So Witherspoon's not going to travel with A.J. Brown, and even if he did, which, he won't, who's going to cover Devonta Smith and who's going to cover Dallas Goedert? I don't know, and I would know. Trust me, there's a guy who would know. It's me. So I think that this is going to be a decently high-scoring game. I think Matt Patricia, as much as I don't love the man, has enough plays and tricks up his sleeve to get a couple third downs, hold them to field goals, and they probably win by 7 to 10 points.
Trying to convince yourself, man. That hamster, I can see it sprinting.
That's where my head goes. Now, here's where it gets weird. If Geno plays, he can rip apart zone defenses very well, in my opinion, and this whole thing flips on its head. So it's really unfortunate.
Marty,
that
what about something simple like this? You saw with the 49ers after they got dummied a couple times how they responded and showed everyone in the National Football League that they're a real deal team. I think the Eagles are looking to do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
He's on it. We're on the Eagles.
I hear you. I mean, the Eagles
And
are a
let me
professional
float
team.
this, O-Dog. Let me float this. When the Eagles cover tonight, okay, boom, happens, we're 5. The Thursday night game will jam them. I promise you that. They will not pick that right. We're now 6 with what I believe is 16 games left. So to me, the goal should still be to win by double digits.
No.
Winning by a few is not enough.
Is every game worth 2 now or
No,
something?
everything's worth 1. We're just chipping away like gentlemen
That's
over
it.
here. And next week, there are 9 games on the board.
Yeah.
There's 9. So,
But then the
understand
problem
that.
is after that, it shrinks down.
But that's why next year we're going to win
And
tonight because you win.
I'm not going to lie. After the bot army that he's operating came after me,
That's
You wanna
not the
respond to
bot
that?
army.
Farm or something?
No bot army. That's just Team Hazen, bro. We got a massive fan base.
it's him. He's tricking you.
not.
He
It's the
runs
12s.
35
It's the
to
12s.
40
It's the
profiles himself.
See, I like that kind of commitment. Even if it's true, Ellis brother, I don't look at you like you're a pathetic loser. I think that that's great. I think that's a winning attitude.
They all have 12 followers, and it's all Leafs. That's all it is. It's
I
just
love
different profiles. Don't be fooled.
Al's brother is building a bot army online, and we are chugging. But listen, it's all good because you know why this one's going to hurt that much more? Because you're betting against Pete Carroll
That's fine.
and the
Even
Seahawks.
If we're up 3 with 3 to go, I still am going to feel good. Look at the.
What
I don't
happens
just
if-
look at little tiny stats of the season.
right.
I look
All right.
at the whole thing. We will continue to be well above 500.
All right.
And you will choke.
Okay. All right. Oh, any comments you want to?
He's on the Eagles. You're on the Eagles.
Y'all
though.
good
What
here
does
or what?
Rod say? What does Rod say?
Hang on a sec. I had him patched in. I want to hear what he has to say. He loves the Eagles. Let's go.
All right, Rod Smith, the man in charge, he's a fan of that pick. All right, boys. Well, good seeing you guys.
Yeah.
This has been quite the
This
segment.
is a big night.
You going to be up in the boardroom tonight?
Oh, I'll be there.
You up there too, Frankie?
Yeah, we're up
All right.
there.
Well, we'll be on the group chat. Al's brother, you and I. We got to
Absolutely.
work
I'll
on
tell
a
you
gift
what,
game.
if I get one more visual of a hot tub, Al's brother, no thanks. That was too far. You went too damn far. You went too damn far.
I was living and loving life Saturday night. That's
Yeah.
on me.
Al's
That's on
brother
me.
in a hot tub was crossing the
I
line.
was wondering. I'm potentially wondering Is the Batman and Robin bet still on the line?
Which one was that again?
That was if you guys lose, you got to.
Oh, Batman. No, we didn't accept that.
Because you needed to give us an incentive.
Yeah, you
on
never
it.
gave us an incentive.
beat us.
That's what we're doing.
We're
on the
that
way
now.
to doing that.
We're going to put
Before
it
back.
in line. We're just going to do it.
We'll be 3 after tonight. The Thursday nighter. I don't even know what the Thursday nighter is.
It's Saints Rams, baby.
Oh,
Enjoy that line.
That's Rams
easy
by
pick.
a mile.
Easy pick.
I'm not saying the Rams don't win. What do you think that line will be?
I think the Saints, they're not playing Danny DeVito anymore. They're playing Matt Stafford.
The same Rams team that let Jacoby Brissett march down the field and almost cover it yesterday.
Yeah, that was actually a real sweat.
Enjoy it, boys. The free lunch is over. Doogie can't give you no more breadcrumbs. Let's go.
Party, let's go.
House brother. All right, boys, we're out of here. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, so that was an electric little battle between Owen Wilson and Hazenbro, where some wild accusations were handing out, including the fact that Luke is accusing Al's brother of creating a bot farm online, which I think is really uncalled for.
It's uncalled for, and what a visual that is.
Yes.
Because he's got like a little layer where he gets all this information. He's probably got a couple screens going at the same time. Mm-hmm. But to accuse him of having a bot farm while he's like in some like deep Reddit football forums is wild.
Yeah, that's a bridge too far.
Yeah.
I will not accept that against my partner.
Yeah. Also, Rod Smith's phone, like, just,
blowing up.
It must be just blowing up right now.
Well, Rod's a beauty, man. Rod's one of the best, and that's a big acquisition and a big move by Team Owen Wilson and the O-Dogs. So, the Leafs are back in action tomorrow night, and we talked about this in the previous hour. We're talking a lot about what happened in Ottawa today. If you're just tuning in, DJ Smith was let go, and Jacques Martin has taken over behind the bench on an interim basis, and I can't imagine it's going to be any more than the rest of the year. I think Steve Staios is speaking with the media right now and breaking down the transaction, what he hopes to see out of Jacques Martin. But as for the Leafs, like I would say that was the mic drop of the mic drops all year on Saturday night. And to do that without Matthews, without Brody, was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And it was over quick. And I think Mitch Marner played the way he's capable of playing, like just taking over games. Nyes was great. Domi was great. But at the end of it, because the game was such a blowout and there was so much offense and Nyes with a Gordie Howe hat trick and all that, I don't think the Martin Jones conversation came up enough, but I can guarantee it's going to come up a lot in the future.
Yeah. Because
as far as I'm concerned, he starts tomorrow night. Like it's a layup because he's coming off a shutout. Like you can have, like coaches can, there's always a PR spin in every decision. And they want to be protective of Ilya Samsonov, obviously. Right? He was here with them last year. He played well last year. They're going to need him. I think he has more upside than Jones because he's younger. But Joseph Woll is going to be out for at least another month, likely a month and a half. So you're going to need both goalies. But you're trying to pick up wins right now. And Martin Jones is not some guy off the waiver wire here. You signed him in the offseason. He's a seasoned vet. And he's played pretty well.
Yeah.
Like he made some good stops on Saturday night. And if he can find a rhythm, for me, I think that's imperative. I'd play him.
I'm right there with you. And there's two different directions you can go. You can say we're just going to be 50-50 with Samsonov and Jones, and that's our plan, and we're going to stick to it. But if you take a look at the schedule, like you have the Rangers tomorrow. Martin Jones played pretty well. He's an NHL goalie. He's been established for a long time. You probably feel like at this point he gives you the best chance to win on any given night. And then Thursday, you get the Buffalo Sabres. So logic would tell you the goalie that gives you the better chance to win, maybe you play him Tuesday against the Rangers.
He played against them last week too, right?
Right. And then, give Samsonov the Buffalo game. It's almost like, like with the situation they're in with going to like the third goalie on their depth chart. It's like a guy, he comes up, he doesn't play very much, plays 8 minutes, but he fights and he plays a really scrappy game. And you're like, well, how do I take that guy out? Like, what kind of message does that send if I remove that guy from the game? And I think that applies to Martin Jones, where he's played well when he's had the net. He played really well on Saturday, even though it gets lost in a 7-0 game. What kind of message does that send to him that, like, no matter how well you play, it's just the other guy's going back in.
I agree. I mean, I think you're always massaging egos. You're trying to do what's best for the players, but ultimately what's best for the team. And for me, I think it's very easy to explain why Jones would play tomorrow night. He played against the Rangers and beat them last week. He's coming off a shutout. He's a veteran guy. And
Samsonov hasn't been very good.
And Samsonov hasn't been very
let's
good.
Be honest, call it for what it is. He doesn't look comfortable and doesn't make you feel like any kind of ease when he's in the net.
He should have been pulled against Columbus.
Yeah.
And they chose not to because they thought the game was over. And I think they regretted not pulling him when they lost in overtime. But you also have something that's coming alive here in Toronto that, I don't think is coming up because there's always this strange narrative around the Leafs and this focus on the playoffs, right? Like it's always, well, what does this mean for the playoffs? How is this going to work and equate in the playoffs? Is you lose sight of what's at stake during the regular season. And them tracking down Boston is not out of the question.
No.
They're 5 points back with a game in hand. Boston is coming back to life.
Yeah.
Boston's facing injuries. McAvoy's out.
Quatra is going to go to the World Juniors. He's been playing a lot for them for a young guy. Like they still have depth issues down the middle that they haven't really solved because they had to do it internally. So they're going to lose Quatra to the World Juniors, and we have a beeping through here.
We're
That's
good.
semi-distracting.
Might have been who was that? Cam Neely sending that in, JP? Someone in Boston being like, "Shut your yap and move on, please. Get back to the
that
Leafs."
was Jack.
It could have been Jack Edwards.
Jack Edwards.
Yeah, we were saying something we weren't supposed to about how dare we question the depth of the Bruins.
Yeah.
Jack Edwards sent up a code red on our show. But that's, every point is going to count. Like either tracking down Boston or home ice in the first round.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing in December in terms of the actual play, it doesn't have to matter as much in terms of the way you're going to be playing come April. And what I mean by that is, systems, who's going to be on the roster between now and the trade deadline. They're going to make adjustments. Things are going to change. But the points are going to matter. Every single point is going to count when you're talking about a chase for either home ice or even the top spot in the Atlantic. And, as of right now, I think you'd much prefer, like they have in previous years, to avoid Boston in the first round, to avoid Tampa in the first round.
Yeah.
You get that top
that
seed.
means they're going to have, they'd have Florida maybe.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right now, they'd have Florida.
Right now, and I think if you're the Leafs, you're thinking, try to avoid that.
Yeah.
It doesn't guarantee you anything. But if you can make your life easier and get that top seed and maybe you play the Islanders in the first round.
That'd be great. The only issue is right now, you look at the wild card and it's like Carolina. You're like, do I want to play against Carolina in the first round and just get run into the ground and, they're going to be ornery.
Yep.
Like they haven't had a great season. You're still going to run into a really good opponent.
Either
if
way.
If someone like the Islanders sneaks in there, like, yeah, we can find a way to beat them. We got more offense. And
it's just a different look.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just even goes to show like the journey throughout the regular season, something we really do take for granted. With all the adversity that the team has kind of been hit with this year, they've found a way to push through it. It has been a resilient group, which is something on the positive side to look at. All the things that have come up, they've found a way to navigate their way through that.
Listen, every fan has a different viewing experience. And what I mean by that is where your focus is at and what you're looking for out of this team. There are a number of fans and a number of members of the media that, again, are solely focused on what does this mean come playoff time. And I don't blame you for that. I understand that because of the history of this team. Lack of playoff success, been forever since they made a cup final or won one. I get to that point many times as well. But during the regular season, there are also a lot of fans who are simply seeking out entertainment. And I think this team has supplied an immense amount of entertainment value. And what I mean by that is overtimes, shootouts, leading the league in hits or close to it, fights, injuries, different goalies, different players,
man? How about
milestones.
Matthew scoring 60,
Yes.
the Marner point streak, like all these cool things that we almost don't appreciate because we just think about playoffs, whatever, do it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of cool stuff here the last little while, the last few years.
And I think the Max Domi story can be at the top of that list too, because of who he is, what he represents. And like his first 10 games here was a transition. It was a tough transition. But also, as you look back on it, should not have been surprising at all. New players on a new team, especially a guy like that who's a legacy name. He's Ty Domi's kid. He grew up around the team, grew up in Toronto, grew up dying to be a Leaf. I think he was gripping his stick the first 10 games. I think he was out of position playing the wing because he was deferring constantly.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm on Tavares' line. I'm on Matthews' line. And Max, through junior, through different parts of his NHL career, it's been a guy up the middle of the ice that has driven a line.
Yeah.
And now he's been given that opportunity on the third line. Ever since they moved him there, I think it's sparked.
Yeah.
And I've really liked this game. He's not playing a lot of minutes, but 5-on-5 points, he's putting up a lot.
No.
5-on-5 assists, he's putting up like close to league leading.
Dude, he might lead the league in like saucer passes assists too.
Right.
Like, just the grossest sauce. Every pass has to have some kind of like
Unnecessary movement.
Yeah, it has to have a little bit of space between the ice and the puck, which whatever, he's got the skill, but like that third line is something that's important for the Leafs because Keefe needs to have a third line he can go to be a setup line where those guys can play offensive zone, hem a team in, maybe tire some bodies out, get an icing, now throw Matthews over, now throw Tavares over, and like win the territorial game that way. But if you don't have a third line that can do that, you're pumping the first and second line over and telling them you got to do that plus. Right. And now you're playing 22, 24 minutes. Like you add an element there where those guys get a little bit of help. It's nice to have that identity and like give Nick Robertson some credit too because I think a lot of people were maybe ready to write that guy off and say it's just not going to happen here for whatever reason. But he's kind of changed his ways here where he's not just a guy that needs to get open and get the shot off. He's playing hockey. You know what I mean? Like he's making plays, he's getting involved in the play, he's hounding pucks. It's not like, hey, just get it to me so I can get open and get a shot off because all I do well is shoot the puck. He's doing other things better. Yeah,
and I saw this as of Saturday night. Big Head Hockey tweeted this out. The amount of forwards in the NHL with more 5-on-5 assists than Max Domi this season, only two, Tim Stützle and Nathan McKinnon. And Domi's averaging like 12 minutes a night.
Yeah.
So, like, he is contributing offensively. He is capable of putting up numbers. Nyes is capable of putting up numbers. Yarncroke is a guy that can give you 40 to 45 points as a depth forward. You know what you're going to get out of Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. They're going to be rock stars. They're going to put up a boatload of points. If you can get offense from the other lines, like you just stated, that goes a long way in making your life a little bit easier. Now, they have to defend, right? The flip side of it is there were other players that used to be here that didn't put up the offense, but they were sound defensively.
Sure.
But for me, it's, again, purely from an entertainment standpoint, this team through whatever it is, 28 games, 29 games, it's been pretty fun. It's been a pretty fun ride if you're watching the Leafs.
It's hard to criticize them too much, even because the back end, those guys have done a pretty
stepped in really well,
job, man. Benoit, Lagesson, like Timmins, those guys, man, they've stepped up. It would have been easy for them to crumble, but they haven't.
No, that's for sure. 16-6-6 through 28 games. All right, Noodles is coming up, and he's got a story about flying into Arizona and taking a cab, if you can call it that, to his airport. We'll tell you about that, but also Noodles coming up on the news of the day. He's with Ottawa. He's been covering them. He's been calling their games in St. Louis, in Vegas, in Dallas. I mean, he's on the trip, and he's in Arizona for their game tomorrow night. So we'll catch up with Noodles, get his take on the news of the day in Ottawa. What's up with the Leafs, among other stories, including Marc-Andre Fleury not starting for Minnesota when they're in Pittsburgh. We'll tell you about that. Get Noodles' take on it as well. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050, and on the TSN app. All right, TSN 1050's Leafs lineup is your chance to win Leaf tickets every week, all season long. Every weekday, we announce a current or former Maple Leaf player. And on Fridays, you have a chance to call in and name the Leaf lineup of the week. If you name them all, you're getting a pair of tickets. This week, we're giving away tickets to see the Leafs take on Jacques Martin and the Ottawa Senators, December 27th. Isn't that wild? He's going to be back in that building.
Yeah.
Last time he was the coach of Ottawa, I believe, was Joe Nieuwendyk, 2 goals in Game 7.
On Patrick Lalime?
Mm-hmm.
Should bring Lalime out for that.
Yeah, the Leafs, imagine the reverse troll, bring out, or have Nieuwendyk out there, ceremonial puck drop in his alumni jacket. Plus, we're throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card with each pair of tickets to make it the ultimate game night. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro Canada. Your player of the day is Brad Marsh. Brad Marsh.
All right.
I love it. Old school, no bucket. Brad Marsh is your player of the day.
I want to know how Doogie came up with Brad Marsh.
There's no way Doogie knows who Brad Marsh is.
No. He's 21.
21 years old. Yeah, there's Brad would have been retired long before Doogie came along.
Yeah. What's up, Doogie?
How did you figure that one out, Doogie? Like, was he the first captain of the Sens or something? Or
I'm going a little behind the scenes OverDrive trivia here, but it's Maple Leafs and Senators.
Right.
Brad Marsh played for both.
There you go. Yes, I remember it was
boy.
a Leaf, but it would have been early. It must have been expansion draft, I would guess. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn, but all right, there you go. Brad Marsh. Thank you, Doogie. Noodles is coming up. He's in Arizona. He's been with the Ottawa Senators here on this road trip. Longest roadie of the year. They lost in St. Louis, lost in Dallas, lost in Vegas. Now they're in Arizona tomorrow, and Arizona's been good this year. Connor Ingram's been a great story. He's been really good at Ned. And then they got to go through Colorado before they come home. That's as tough of a trip as there is in the league, going through Dallas and Vegas and Colorado, 3 games in 5 or 6 nights.
No.
Then you throw Arizona in there too. And
Noodles is calling the games, and it's a regional broadcast, right? So you're not going to be ripping guys, and you're still trying to find positives to take out of those games. It's not an easy road trip. Arizona's the second wild card spot in the West right now.
they're playing really well.
Yeah.
Yep. They got a college-like atmosphere out there, and they're playing really well. Going very well for them.
Wow, it looks just so unnatural for you to say that.
I can't help myself, man. It's constantly on a tee for me.
Yeah.
All right, Noodles coming up. Our buddy Lawrence Applebaum of Golf Canada coming up as well. Our best bet still to come. Frankie Corrado in here on Brian Hayes. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050, soon to be up on TSN 2.